I'm glad you're joining us from sunny Mexico. It does look sunny there, which is good. Our weather is going nuts here in Ontario. We just doesn't know what it wants to do. We were minus 10 yesterday, plus 10 today, minus 10 tomorrow. It's just like the swirl that's happening in Ontario right now, and it's not pretty, but we'll make the most of it. Welcome Cassandra and Mark as well. And we'll get our this is a third episode of the Complete Agent. Today's quote: "You can't sell homes sitting at home," right, Miguel? Or
No,
sitting on
you
the beach.
cannot. Or on the beach. Yeah.
Get organized, get out there and make it happen. Um, So we're obviously following along the lives of Cassandra Shirzad, who is a formalist. At least that's what Tony Robbins categorizes her as for her personality test. Her first year in the business, so she is looking to ramp it up in her first year. With her goal at being 100,000. So anyone who can do 100,000 the first year in business is killing it. So this is going to be a kill it year for Cassandra. Mark, who is the networker, 3.5 years in the business. His GCI last year was the killing it as a fairly new agent. I say fairly because I always say that 2 year mark is where you decide whether or not, geez, am I going to make a go of this or not? So he's right in, and his goal is to do things smarter, not harder, and get to the 125 or more, knowing that this year might be a little bit tougher as we'll see how what the market does as well. Miguel, who's joined us from Mexico, is the dynamo. 22 years in the business, the seasoned veteran. He did 700,000 last year, double centurion, number one. 2026 goals over 1 million. He wants to get to that point, but that interesting, a jump where you're at the almost the limit of what one person can do with their business themselves and looking at ways that to scale and do it smarter, not harder as well. And that way you could do more money, but leveraging maybe others to help, I think is a big thing for Miguel. Would you agree, Miguel?
Yes, 100%.
All
We're
right.
starting that. We're starting that this year for sure.
Amazing. And that's a great journey to be on because there's a lot of people that reach that maximum level. And sometimes it's not even 7,000. Like I remember selling, now maybe 7,000 back 10 years ago when I was selling was the 300,000. But as soon as I reached around that 300,000 range, it becomes extremely difficult in order to have any time of the day, especially if you're high service, right? You're very much making sure that everything is done the right way. And then things start slipping a little bit, and you need to put measures in place. And I think, Miguel, you have leveraged the systems that are out there as little as you think you have, you have. I mean, you have utilized those around you as well. Um, so we can always look at the way that he did that as well. So the agenda for every week is that we are going to talk about different things that Cassandra, Mark, and Miguel are doing with regards to their sphere of influence and prospecting for new business. Those are the two areas that you can leverage either time and money or like, relationships. So sphere of influence being the most important because it's the easiest business to get. So you might as well go with the path of least resistance there and make sure that those that like you um, are always looking for business for you, right? Prospecting for new business is fill in the funnel. That's looking for new people that want to use you. They just don't know it yet. So you have to convince them. And it takes a little bit more to do that and takes a lot more time and or money because you can buy your business if you'd like to. And then follow up with the current prospects that you're working with, working your CRM in order to make sure that all happens, listings, buyers, anybody you're working with currently. And the playbook is something that we're going to leverage for those that are watching as well as those that are participating. If there's anything, tools that we can give you to help you, it's in the playbook. If it's not, we will put it in there. That's why we love doing this too, because I can always update the playbook as we go and look for different market opportunities currently based on what markets are happening, what's happening in the market today. So we are going to do this. I mean, I think I had mentioned 8 weeks. Um, I think I'd like to go with 12. So we're gonna go for 12 weeks of productivity to go over things like mindset in your organization, which we've talked about, having that personality assessment. We did that because it's important to know what you innately are more more able to leverage in terms of your own personality that you'll like what you do. And usually things that you're good at is what you like. And if you leverage that in your business, again, path of least resistance. And then when you're negotiating or dealing with others, and that's what we do for our clients, you need to understand their personality in order to really get a smooth transaction negotiated. If you're kind of talking to an agent and they're frustrating you because either they're not calling you back or maybe they're saying things that aren't true or just, their personality style isn't meshing with you. You need to know why. Why is that person like that? And how can I leverage my ability to combat that type of personality in order to get a deal done? So that's why personality assessments are so important. The accountability measures we're having with the complete agent is going to revolve around a documented, actionable spreadsheet. So we're going to look at the spreadsheet and see where you guys are at, and then your business planning. So we did do a business plan with three of you and looked at what it is you want to put in place this year. When it comes to business planning and anyone's plan, you should just focus on one thing, get it done well, and then move on to the next thing. And we do have things like accountability in it, as well as financial planning and things with regards to your business plan. We always revert back to and look at. Um, your sphere of influence in book and business is sitting in a CRM. We need to make sure that that's an organized CRM. So I'm going to bring open Remarketer. Everyone has a different CRM. I would say not everyone. One may have different CRMs. A lot of you are using Remarketer, so that's what we're going to look at. But it doesn't matter what CRM you're using, they're all very similar. You can always organize a CRM. Even your phone can be organized if you did it right. And so, how to organize it, what you should be organizing it for, so you can pull up a list of the most important people to touch base with this week. Paid advertising is leveraging through return on investment, right? So ROI is something that's measurable. You can scale ROI, and if you start off and you don't have any budget for that, that's okay. We can leverage the sphere first or time, but at some point in time, it is more effective, not more effective. It is effective in order to scale your business through paid advertising. And Miguel might be actually he is at that point where he has enough money coming in that he can pay for his bills and his family and send the kids off to university and all the rest of it. But he could also double his income and really start looking at like taking more trips to Mexico, right? So he can take more trips to Mexico, things like that, because he was able to, spend $10 and make 100, right? 10 times return on investment. Uh, you're prospecting. So what are you doing in order to get out and meet new people? So it's time. Social media. Um, the new business card, right? So instead of just handing out a business card, people are actually really Googling you. They're going on your social media, adding you to social media. It's also a place where it is more efficient to reach out to your sphere and remind them you're in the business without having to do much. So very, very important to leverage that. And then your buyer and listing presentation. So that encompasses what we are going to be talking about over the 12 weeks. Last week, we talked about sphere of influence, prospecting, following up on your current prospects, working your CRM, listing and buyers. The review of what we did last week in terms of market and everything, I'm going to actually switch over to our accountability spreadsheet. And Cassandra, you just happen to be first. So we'll get that going and out of the way for you. Let's have a discussion on how last week. So just so everybody knows what you're looking at here, you're looking at the first week that we were set out to complete some actions, made some sphere of influence calls, send out some calendars, some social media posts. But she had a buyer and a listing to work with, which is really good. That gives you an opportunity to leverage some of that. So I do want to talk to you about that. But let's first talk about what you did last week. Cassandra will start maybe, I don't know, at the top. When you're
So that
talking
was two
mails
weeks ago, right? Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was pretty productive. I mailed out, well, I handed out newsletters near my cottage, And then I also made a custom newsletter, which I emailed out. Um,
Let's talk about the mailed newsletter at your cottage.
sure.
So this is interesting. It's cottage season coming up. You're
Yeah.
looking to see if anybody might be selling.
Yeah.
So this wouldn't be necessarily a geographical farming program as much as it is an opportunity geographically to see if anybody is interested. So prospecting program really. Is that right? Or are you going to, mail a newsletter consistently?
Um, Last time I gave things out there was December.
Okay.
So regularly, I would say so.
Not
I don't really
automated.
want to bombard them all the time because especially in the winter, like some people close their cottage up. So
Now,
it's
That's okay. Now, I want to ask you a question because sometimes when we talk about certain things, I'm going to point out words one would use because that's usually a mindset gap. So when you say bombard, do you
yeah.
feel like that if you're sending it more often, you'd be bombarding them? Is that like is that a concern of yours?
So when I'm handing them out, like it's not like the mailboxes that I have at home that like I have to walk to it, get a key. Like it's old fashioned, like they have a
Yeah.
mailbox at the end of the driveway. So when I'm putting it in there, like I can see like there's a stash of like 40 stuff in there that like people haven't been up to like check their mail. So if I'm sending stuff and like when they grab their mail, they see like Cassandra, Cassandra, Cassandra. Like it's I don't know. To me, yeah, it's a little bit much.
Okay. That's interesting because I do hear that a lot. So you're not alone, right? A lot of our agents are feeling like, oh, I don't want to bother. I don't want to be too in their face. I don't want to be bombarding them, that sort of thing. And usually, if you were to talk to, I would say 98% of that is unfounded, put it that way. Usually it's a mind gap that we just can't pass. Now, you brought up some good points, right? Like you did brought up, but they're not up there very often. So continuing to market them and they haven't got the first one doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, my question would be is especially when they are up there, would you ramp it up?
Yeah. Yeah. Like what I want to do in the spring is like do some sort of pop by with something. So, um, I don't know, either like have like a postcard and then like attach, I don't know, sunflower seeds to it or something like for the spring season, or like, I don't know, even those leaf bags, like the yard bags, like have my card, like a postcard with it and like, hey, spring seasons, I know it's like spring cleaning up there. So kind of like a conversation starter with everybody.
That's amazing. So all
Yeah.
those things you're talking about and what you're doing is great, especially where you are at in your career. You have some time, like I'm just saying you're leveraging a little bit more of your time. Um, One thing I will say that everyone is at a different stage of their career. So if you're listening to this and saying, "Oh, that's a great idea," but you're doing $400,000 worth of business, it'd be worth it for them, not for the seeds, because that needs to be a pop buy, and that's maybe once a quarter, but they need to be on a newsletter program that's once a month at least minimum, if not every 2 weeks. But because we're talking about cottages, it's different. And you do need to bombard them. And that's something that's a positive thing. You do need to bombard them consistently. Because if they keep seeing Cassandra sold, Cassandra sold, Cassandra, oh, this Cassandra's selling too many houses that's bombarding me. I don't want to use her because she's so successful. That just won't happen, right? Like they're going to want to use you because you are successful.
If you see my last week, I don't have much activity of like prospecting, and I'll tell you why. I did a lot of researching. So, like with these newsletters, I did, I went online and I got a sample package of the one that Miguel uses. It's the mission response one.
Yep.
I don't like it. I
That's okay. Tell Miguel.
I
Tell
know,
him why
but
it's
I'll
not
tell
good.
you why. So, like, this is an example. So
Sure.
you get this in an envelope.
Yeah.
It doesn't have your face on it. So it's like if I were to get this in the mail, I wouldn't even open the envelope.
Okay.
Like, and the
Miguel, what
thing
do you
is,
have to say to that?
well, it would be different if like Miguel's face was on here. Then it would be like, oh, I recognize
I
Miguel. And then the next envelope I
valid
get,
valid
Miguel.
comment.
But I would not open this up. And maybe I'm the odd one, but you could take a vote. I don't know if people would open this up.
Is there no banner on the front or back of that with personal branding?
So you have to open the envelope. But what I'm saying is it's like if somebody like doesn't look at it. Like if somebody doesn't open it, your face is not there.
Yeah.
Unless
Uh,
you open it and it's like when you open it, then it's like, okay, there you are. Like, you know what I mean?
is that the geographical one, or is that like the preferred client one?
I don't know. They sent
Because
me a bunch of
they have
stuff. So
two
like
they
even
have
this
two
one,
programs.
unless
Yeah.
you open it, turn it
Yeah.
around, and then same thing with this one.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan. I know that like I I would kind of follow what Mark was saying 2 weeks ago that like he makes his own, like he kind of puts his own touches to it. This, I don't know. I personally, if I was
Not
getting
for
this
mail
mail, I
out,
wouldn't open it.
Cassandra. I don't.
You don't?
I don't personalize the mail outs. No, that would take forever.
So then, but you said you were doing custom newsletters.
In Remarketer, the emailed ones.
Oh, but you don't mail them out.
No.
Oh,
This is a
okay. I
great
misunderstood.
conversation. What I would like to say is if you want the best of all worlds, and Miguel knows what I'm going to say to this, and I'm not promoting his business because I like the guy or anything like that, but Kit's communication, it comes with a window with your face on it. So, I mean,
With
it's a,
in the envelope?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I use mission response for the geographical farming because, like many of you, you don't want to bombard, and you don't want it to automatically get tossed in the garbage when they see a realtor's mugshot, because there are 50 other mugshots probably in the mailbox. So what mine was the neighborhood. So the neighborhood's called, let's say, Birdland, and it's Birdland Market Report. So the idea is it forces them to, if they know they're in Birdland and there's market report and stats, for them to get the information. So it's very much a Gary Vaynerchuk, like jab 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 hook. So us giving the information, giving the sales, giving the stats, giving the latest listings. They will probably open those one or two times. And I've had neighbors, like I've switched geographical farms, and I've had neighbors actually call me and say, "Hey, how come you're not sending out the neighborhood reports anymore?" Because they were looking forward to the monthly stats of what's happening, how many singles, how many towns, how many one floors, what's the average price, is it going up, is it going down. So it really was
So this
information
one.
based. Yeah, the neighbor, not market views. No, it's the neighborhood one. Maybe the green one that you had, where there's a map of the neighborhood. See, there's a map of the neighborhood, and then it gives you the stats and graphs, and it gives you a rundown
Oh,
of
okay,
the.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So they have come to, like, enjoy getting a neighborhood snapshot, kind of like conclusion of what's happening, very specific in their neighborhood. And then I'm at the banner bottom, and I've had people call me, say, "Hey, how come you're not sending that?" I said, "Oh, we've moved on to another neighborhood, but if you want to be put on a list, I can still send it to you." So the idea behind that is to give information, like, selflessly, kind of just give, 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 give. And then when I actually go for the ask, they're already, what's it called, familiar with how much information, quote unquote, I have done, even though it's curated by them, and giving it to them. Plus, it's something to, when I knock on their door, say, "Hey, are you getting my neighborhood report? What do you like? Like, do you like that? Are you interested in a more in-depth evaluation of your home?" Because I rest on that, right? Like, they know I've been giving them that information. I double check at the door or on the phone if they're getting that information. It is a warm introductory to be able to steer the conversation more specific to them. Do you get it? Do you like it? What do you think about that? Are you interested in finding more about what your specific home is worth? Because this is an average, and maybe yours is worth more, et cetera, et cetera. So
Do you
so
that
find
is
that
not,
they
that's
they
really
open
not,
it?
that piece is not meant to be like personal promotion. It's really just to be informative. If you don't open it, you don't open it, right? But
so
the idea is that.
let me ask you, Miguel, for what you're saying. Okay, so first of all, let's look at your business. 700,000 last year. What percentage of that business came from people you knew opposed to geo farming and paying for advertising?
Like 95% is people I knew.
Okay, so 5%. Would you say that you're more successful with the relationships than you are with
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're talking about is not relationships. Okay. And I know that sounds a little bit, I mean, we're going now marketing, mass marketing, right? If we're going to spend
Yeah.
money now, that's geo farming. Okay. That's a difference
Yeah.
between sending the relationship newsletter. The relationship newsletter is the one with your picture and they're going to open it and they're going to see your name. And then the other one is the geo farming one. Now, both of them are trying to accomplish two different things, right? There is a percentage of you that believe that it should be good quality content because they care what they read and it's important what's in there. Okay, and then there's the other side of the mark. Okay, and where people believe that the more they see your face, it's a mind share. It's a as soon as they think of real estate, they think of Miguel, and that's what Cassandra's saying. If they see Miguel, Miguel, Miguel every single month for 5 years straight, and they go to sell, they're going to think Miguel. They're not going to think of oh, well, I know the market so well because Miguel educated me over the years, right? So the question is which one's more effective? And typically, when we're at between 0 and 700,000 range of agents, I deal with 95% of agents that will build relationships and remind people that they're in the business. What we're switching over to is now mass marketing, and we care more about making sure that when they think of real estate, they think of Miguel. So to Cassandra's point, I would want to see, and I know there are people that love your newsletter, Miguel, but those few people that have called you and have loved your newsletter are your personality style. If you're going to think more like the 1.5 million to $2 million producer, and I know you don't want to be that person that masks, just the name and all the rest, but you can be both. Okay, you can be
Yeah.
both. The way to do that is through seeing your name more often and bombarding them with your marketing. And I know you guys don't like that, but you got to get past that. If you're gonna do
To be
geographical farming, it's bombarding them with your face and your name.
yeah. To be honest, like I'm in the camp of like I really don't care about the content because we don't have the attention span to sit there and read a newsletter. To be honest, like we
Right.
skim, and the idea
Yep.
is I want them to skim whatever I'm giving them, whether that is a newsletter in their inbox or at the door or a postcard. I want to be on both sides of that, at the top, in the middle, at the bottom. I just want them to remember my bald head and my colors and know that I
You
sell
got
real
it.
estate because like I'm going by judging myself. Like when I get things in my inbox or even in my mailbox, I don't take the time to read that cover to cover. It is not like the olden days where people are sitting down and reading newspaper cover to cover. Even then, they never did. I don't think unless you're an avid reader. My goal is to be able to get them in front, to get my face in front of them as many times as possible in different ways as possible. So whether that is a postcard, whether that is a door hanger, whether that is a newsletter, whether that's an e-newsletter, whether that is a for sale sign, I just want to be able to build that repetition on various mediums so that they compound on each other. The content to me has to be obviously relevant, but I think it is less important of my energy spend than it is to actually just get it out so that they can see me and have an association based on who I am and what I do
Yeah, you're
and
bang
when they
on.
need me.
Yeah, you're bang on, and that is what's important. So, Cassandra, great point. If you're going to choose a newsletter, I agree with you. If you're going to spend the amount of money it costs for these newsletters, and it's costly, especially in our budget at that this level, then you better make sure that your name is front and center. Your
Yeah.
face is front and center because
Yes.
that's what you're paying for. You're not paying to promote a newsletter.
You know what? I'm gonna look into kits. Like I don't have an issue of spending the money. The money's not the issue. But if I am going to be sending this out, my face better be somewhere on
Yeah, again, you're not
even if they
promoting
You
open
have
it or
marketing.
they
You're
full
don't
you have
open
full
it.
autonomy
It,
of
what's that?
you have full autonomy on how that looks though. You sit down with creative with mission response
But it's
Oh,
not on the
or
really?
it's not on the envelope is her point. It's going to go in the
oh
garbage
no.
before they open it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Like you have to be so the ones we send out actually don't go in an envelope. They get folded and they get mailed. So you actually get the newsletter not in an envelope, right? So the
yeah.
ones that Kit sends out, they cut a window so they see your picture. And I think that's very important. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into kits then.
Yeah, look into it. So thank you for sharing. It is very, I'm glad we spent a lot of time on this because it is very, very, very important that you guys have something set up. And Cassandra, I like the fact that you're leveraging some of your, time. You get out there and you put it in the mailboxes and stuff like that, which is great. At a certain point in time, when you start selling things in there, you may decide to get into a mailed automated system, so you don't have to get out there and do it anymore. Although I know top producers that have been, it's part of their regimen. They actually love it because they get exercise, getting out and actually hanging stuff on doors or whatever it is, right?
So I have
So you
one
did, yeah,
funny thing to share before we move off this is
sure.
that I called you last or after our last session, Aaron, because I
Yeah.
actually got a call from someone I didn't know to show a listing that was in my emailed newsletter. You had
Yeah.
beat me up over spending so much time on my newsletter in the last session, and then I got a call right after. It was funny.
Well, it was funny because you looked at it as you looked at a CR and look at how much effort could be put towards to get a response, and I looked at it as, oh, I thought you were pointing it out as, look, email sorry, or newsletters work, and we're both right, right? Like, I mean, newsletters work, you got a call. So anyone who's not doing something should be doing it. And Mark's sort of saying, well, I'm also right because the quality of my newsletter is the reason why they called, and both are right.
I mean, I could have just emailed out listings and maybe got that call too, right?
Maybe, maybe,
Yeah,
but you were
and
doing
not spend a
something.
million times a ton of time curating a specialized newsletter. Anyway, I thought it
Well,
was funny.
no, it is good. It is good. And by the way, I'm a big, so, there was a little bit of confusion as to whether or not your newsletter was emailed or mailed, right? And you know how I feel about that. I mean, when you can get to the budget where you can pay for a mailed newsletter, it's the number one return on investment you'll ever have in the business, bar none. You need to email newsletters out to your sphere so they get it once a month because it's all about timing and being there at the right time, repetition, marketing, mind share, like everything is grouped into that once a month newsletter that they expect in that mail for the next 20 years. I have literally been doing it for 20 years, right? Like and it's, if you ask to anybody who's always been on that program, it's their number one source of referrals. Just reality. So it does work. Um, Moving on to sphere of influence calls. So you did call some people. Any interesting conversations, Cassandra?
Not really, to be honest with you, just kind of keeping in
That's
the
good.
loop. So
Yep.
they remember me.
Oh, so you have 16 calls in 2 weeks. That's great. Keep it up. And then you have nine next week. So let's talk about the 2 weeks, right? So last week was nine calls. So you had nine, six. The last week you did not do those. So you just made calls,
You
email
know what?
touches
I did a
here.
lot of research. I did, well, like these newsletters, and then I also was looking into some sort of like marketing swag.
Did you spend the amount of time that you had last week in your business? How much time did you have to spend on your business last week?
Well, I also helped my buyer buy a house. So it was I
We'll get there. Don't worry.
um
I'm just saying, did you have 40 hours to put into real estate last week?
no. And
You
I
did
don't,
not have it?
I'll be honest with you, I don't put 40 hours a week.
Okay.
I
How many
don't.
hours a
I'm
week?
sorry. I'm
That's okay.
of it's I'm
You
a
don't have to
full-time
apologize for
mom.
that.
This is
No,
just like kind of on the side, but yeah, I mean
this
I
is
do put
important.
in a significant amount of time. It's not like it's only 5 hours. I'd say about 20 to 30 hours I put each week.
Okay. So let's just say 20 hours, right? So let's just go on the low end and say 20 hours. Miguel and I always talk about this and it's like, would it be better just working half the time for 20, like there's certain things, there's a balance of life, right? And the best thing about real estate is you can spend as much time to get whatever result. And some people I know that are, we'll call part-time, they have a full-time job as a firefighter, RCMP officer, a police officer, full-time mom. Like there are all these different full-time jobs that people have, and then they can make 150,000 on the side. And how nice is that they can do that, right? So your choice, right? But what we need to know is we don't want to give anybody a false impression that the amount of actions that you're doing is for a 40-hour work week, right? Because in that case, are we using and utilizing the most out of our time? So that's the thing. So, and if you're spending 20 hours last week selling a house, it's the best 20 hours you'll ever spend. Like, it's great, amazing. Good
I
for you.
can't argue that.
You cannot. So, We should almost do the other way. We should start off with the successes and then go with the actions, and you don't feel so bad. But no, that's great. But what you will notice is results will come to those who, are putting enough actions through and all the rest of it. So tell us about your buyer.
So funny enough, we ended up buying a house that we put an offer on a month ago. Um, but the deal fell through because the seller's ex-spouse didn't want to sign. So that agent took it off the market while she dealt with that situation. And then she told me when she was taking it off, she's like, when I relist it, I'll let you know, and maybe your buyer will still be open to it.
Okay.
Sure enough, she was still open to it, and that agent did keep her word. She messaged me before it went back on the market. Although it did go back on the market, she did it, fair play for everyone. And there ended up being three offers this time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we
So
had
you
to
had to
go
pay
a little
more?
bit over, but my client's still thrilled. I still think she got a fantastic deal because
That's
the
actually a
house
good
was listed
indication of
below.
market conditions, right? So she had one offer 2 weeks ago and now three offers 2 weeks later, which is that's a big deal, right? In
Yeah.
terms of knowing that now the market's picking up. Was it the same one 2 weeks ago, or were we counting you for two sales and two in 3 weeks?
Oh no, that's a different one. Sorry, I was like blank for a minute. Yeah, no, that's a different one. That's a mixed use property.
So you've got two deals done in the last 3 weeks?
Well, that was like from February.
Okay.
My
Yeah, yeah,
first week,
yeah.
I
So
kind of
two.
did everything that I was working on.
Yeah, gotcha. No, that's good. That's good. Um, awesome. What a great start. You excited?
Thank
I
you.
mean, you have a smile on the face. That's awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
Um, moving over to Mark, unless you have anything to add there, Cassandra, but continue to add to our conversation and stuff.
No,
So,
that's it.
yeah. Okay, Mark, you were, of course, last week you were in Vancouver at a conference. So we could talk about what you were able to do when that was happening, putting in a full 40 hours, if not more, last week for sure. And then 2 weeks ago as well. So did you want to go over your sphere calls, how they're going?
Yeah, I really want to pick up on what Miguel's doing. I really like the idea of when you see an event that's taken place in someone's life, that you're picking up so watching Facebook, Instagram. Hey, were you away last week? How was your trip? I love that, Miguel. It's so
Yeah.
good. I need to look for those opportunities more, and expand my sphere of influence calls. The sphere of influence right now is just sort of happening organically when people call me or I call them. I need to look for those opportunities more. So thank you so much for that, Miguel. It's really strong.
Thank you. You're welcome. It works well. It has.
Yeah,
It has for me. Yeah.
And it's so much easier too, right?
yeah,
Genuinely.
yeah, yeah.
And
See, I
then,
Sounds
can
like a
think of a
fraud.
friend just off the top of my head that was away on vacation, and I don't know where she was, but I need to give her a call and say, hey, where were you? How was that vacation?
amazing. And then you have the email touches going out. Is that every 2 weeks? Is that going to be fairly consistent or?
Yes, so one's a newsletter, and then like I'm doing my newsletter and market updates separately to give me more touch points. So my newsletter might will show solds, listings, what's going on in our community. So I do a list of events in the Kingston and surrounding area. People really seem to like that. But again, it takes time to do these things. I mean, ChatGPT is wonderful for creating those, but you've still got to take the time and transferring it over into Remarketer to send them out.
Mhm, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you are looking at internet leads as well. Any stories or anything to share from those follow-ups?
Yeah, so I mean I'll just say this that and it's a theme of all these talks that we have. Like sphere of influence is so much easier than trying to generate relationships with random people that you've gotten their information off the internet. So it takes longer, it takes more effort. So my advice to new agents is not to start there. Like definitely start with your sphere of influence, maximize the people you know before you even consider moving on there. And sometimes I feel maybe I'm a little too early to be moving on to internet leads even. Like I know I could do my sphere different. Like I was just talking about what Miguel's doing. I know I could be better that way. But yeah, so anyone who's considering it, it's not the easiest path. I mean, sometimes we look at it through rose-colored glasses, thinking, "Oh, that would be so good to start doing that." It is not the easiest path.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Where it does come into play, of course, is people practicing, just practicing their
Yeah, and
skills of
unfortunate.
overcoming. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to share how I'm doing it. I've paired up with another agent in our office and we've doubled our spend, but we're sharing all the leads.
Mhm.
So when I was away in Vancouver, I was just flipping her the phone numbers and the calls were still getting done. So that was wonderful.
Yep, that is. I saw you guys when I was there last in the room. They were making those calls, and
Yeah.
accountability. You can't get better accountability than having a partner that does along with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been really good. We've got a scheduled time 2 times a week where we sit in and review where we're at with all the leads.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Good, awesome. And of course, your event. What you tell us about how you were looking to leverage, conference as an opportunity.
Sorry, I'm battling a little bit of a cold that I took back from Vancouver.
No worries.
Yeah, if Dulal's on here, he's the master at this. Basically, how many business cards and conversations you can have with other agents, and then starting to set up a referral network. Jalal, are you on?
Let's do well on. Maybe not.
Anyway, he had a booth set up and he's all day, every day. Like he shows up at 7 a.m. every morning. He's at his table and he's talking to everybody. Like he just doesn't stop. He's so good. But yeah, I probably ended up with, I don't know, 20, 25 business cards. And I think what I'm gonna do with, however, without trying to spend too much time on it, is do a Kingston feature
Hmm.
as a newsletter style mail out to that network, and then I'll just continue to build cards from other agents from other areas and just sort of feature my area as quickly as I can in a short little mail out.
It is effective. I've been going for 10 years now to conference, and I can't get past, walking in the room of networkers and get to the second row of tables without having an hour conversation with 10 people. Like, and so people, just over the years get to know you. Gazella is another one that really networked herself. Of course, Dulal had his booth set up, but you see Gazella that when we were all around the table for breakfast every morning, she was off on another table talking to other people from other brokerages, right? And that's what happens is your first time to conference is typically, let's figure this out. Where am I? And what am I doing here? And being around others is great. I don't know how much we can, you know, really push those that come to kind of just say, hey, don't hang out with us. We're in your brokerage. We're not giving you referrals, right? Those people are. So get out there and we don't want to see you at breakfast or something because it seems like, oh, my brokerage doesn't love me. But but that's not, I mean, you're there for both too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the most meaningful conversation I had was actually you. I invited you to come with me when we
Yeah.
talked to Wendy Ferris, who
Mhm.
I'll be co-listing my parents' place with up in Thunder Bay when they're ready to sell. So that was
Mm.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully
Um,
she keeps me in mind for referrals when she's got clients that are moving down to the Kingston or surrounding area.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, if it's not for everybody, for those who can do that well, it's great. Kieran from Edmonton, if there's ever, I just sent him a referral. If there's ever a referral for Edmonton, I know it's Kieran, and he gets 50 referral deals every single year, he says on average. That's his business is based on referrals from network people. Of course, he does his own business too. So you can imagine how what would 50 deals do for your business next year? It's huge, right? So yeah, it can work really well. That's great. Yeah, thank you for coming. We had a great time.
Yeah, it was great. And my deal is you put it on either coast, I'll go, and it's Halifax next year, so I'll see you in Halifax.
Halifax is amazing. Yeah, I can't wait for that
Yeah.
one. What about the deal here? You had a sold buyer 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Great. Tell us about it.
Um, it's a listing that I sold a while back and just was able to convert on the buy side now.
Oh, Great. Okay, so they bought
Yeah.
something and then they signed as a buyer. So, and sorry, they sold something and then they signed as a buyer and they bought.
Yeah, he's very, very particular, so it's been a bit of a journey. Yeah. I can't call him a first time home buyer anymore, but he was only in his original house for less than 2 years, so
Okay.
it didn't work out. He's just sort of finding his way into what will work for him, and we're hopeful that this one will.
Awesome.
It's a bit of a challenging one.
Well, congrats for getting them one. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a closing today too.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Let's get paid. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
No, that's what we work for, right?
That's it. All right, over to
A
Miguel.
couple other things, Aaron, that I
Yep.
joined Rotary and that I'm doing sponsorship for a major curling event that's coming to our area here in Kingston. They call it the Grand Slam of Curling. I'm the lead sponsorship, so I'll be in contact with a whole pile of businesses. So just finding my way to connect with as many people as I can.
Yeah, we had a good conversation about that. And, there are businesses. I used to do that. I used to do sponsorship for the local tournament that was in town for hockey for many years. And I didn't take as much advantage as I should have. I went and collected the money. I asked for the sponsorship and stuff like that. I really should have spent more time, talking to them about their business and how they're doing and, their lease space or own space. And have you ever thought about buying instead of leasing and like having all those conversations? I like where you went there. And, of course, anytime you're building a relationship with, whether it be commercial, they all, usually either, well, they usually own their own homes, right? So, you never know where that could lead in terms of selling their house from a residential standpoint too, right? Especially if you're helping them through maybe a tough situation where the business maybe needs help. And obviously, if they're sponsoring, then probably their business isn't, going down, right? So, but maybe it's expanding, maybe it's going up. So, that's great. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, let us know how that goes. It'll be over in the next few weeks, right? When is it?
The event's in December.
So you've got all year. So you'll be doing that for, yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, it'll be yeah, I guess it's a balance of time and what I get out of it, so it'd be interesting because
Yeah,
it
it'd
will
be
take some time.
I'm trying to think of some of the things I would have done differently. I may have like even I don't know, wore the gold jacket with the name tag on it or something while I'm doing the
Mm.
spawn. Oh, you're a real estate agent? Getting if they know you're a realtor, rather than saying, "Oh, I'm collecting for spawn." By the way, I'm a realtor. If you're ever looking to buy and sell, um, that is the best way to do it. Is to let them know you're a realtor. But sometimes it's hard to get into those awkward conversations about promoting my business too, site type thing. But try and get a creative way to do that.
I think it's just saying, hey, I'm doing this on a volunteer basis. If you know of anyone that's looking to buy or sell, I'd really appreciate it.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah. And don't feel free, like if you are going to eventually, which I'm hoping you are, send out a newsletter to people. I've put businesses on my newsletter. It's one of the best forms because you have so many employees coming in and out of there. You're not just sending your newsletter to a residential house with one family. You're sending it to 15 or 20 people at the restaurant or wherever you're getting the sponsorship from.
never thought of that. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Miguel,
Hey,
uh, we'll go through week two. Obviously, there's a week three missing in there as well, but when you get a
yeah,
chance,
I
just
didn't do week 3 because I thought we were just catching up, but
that's okay. We can still talk about
yeah,
what you're up to.
sure.
So pop buys, we actually I missed a pop buy from I think it was Mark did a pop or was it Cassandra? Yeah, it was Cassandra did a pop buy as well. Talk about pop buys because we are going to bring it up today. Do you have something set up for pop buys right now?
Uh, like yeah, I do it seasonally. So I've done like the holiday season one. That's pretty much done. So I'm going to start getting the barbecue spring one done, which is usually the 3 pack of ketchup, mustard, and relish. I like popping in there. So we will probably get that going once I'm back. But yeah, in terms of Popeyes, that's probably one that's going to go out for the springtime.
Okay. And
Yeah.
we're going to get to Popeye, so I'm going to move on because I'll ask you about that in a minute. Your calls. These are things that Mark took some of your lead last week for him. So you
Yeah.
inspired him because of the amount of calls you always make. And
Yeah.
I would say it's your number one source of business because I see you on your phone
Yes.
a lot. You tell me you're on your phone a lot. You're always checking in with people. Anything
Yes.
come from those?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I've got a couple leads. I did I'm trying to figure out what I did 2 weeks ago, but I'll just give you this last week. So I followed up with somebody. They bought a house firm. It was in competition. We got it under asking. So making those calls, and it was really just a follow up call on them closing their deal. It was a house that they bought with a partner that they were flipping. It was in a tough market. Fall sucked, but we got it out there. I followed up with them and said, "Hey, now that you're closed, are you guys thinking about doing another project? Maybe doing one on your own?" He had said, "Actually, I want to do one on my own this time." We went out. We looked at 3 or 4 houses. He bought one firm in competition, and it was just a follow up call to see like how did that go. You're closed. Obviously, you're flush with a little bit of down payment now. What's your plans for that? So let's buy another place. So that came from there.
Amazing. I'm a big newsletter fan because of the automation, but you cannot beat just following up and making a call and seeing how things are going. Like exactly what Miguel just said. That's why I love having these conversations with agents that have yet to put a CRM together. Like make calls, get their addresses. By the way, don't be surprised if you get a few deals done just because you made the call, right? Just because you touch base, it was the right time.
I'll tell you one of my favorite follow ups this week was I had some clients. They were engaged and they bought a first time house, a pre construction. They lived there for a bit. They called me back to sell it. We sold it. We bought an upgrade house, and because they were thinking about starting a family. Anyway, one of those calls, Mark, that I made was when they did their pregnancy announcement, their gender reveal, and I just kind of like pegged that and checked in with them, like, "Hey, how's it going? First trimester, yada yada yada. What, you got any names? You have this, you have that." And I asked for the due date, and I calendarized the due date because I wanted to be able to follow up either a couple of days before or a couple of days after. It's very much within my wheelhouse because I'm a dad of 4 kids and I've gone through 4 pregnancies and all those things. And this was their first. So in terms of high fiving my client as a first time dad, and I'm a bit of a softie as well, so I can totally connect with the woman as well in terms of getting the baby room ready and all those things. But calendarizing that and following up a couple days before or even on the due date to be like, "Hey, is baby arrived yet? Like, what's happening? Keep me in the loop." And this morning at 7:29, they sent me a picture of the baby that was born, Mila. So like those are great because I mean, in many cases we feel like we're just realtors, but at 7:29 a.m., minutes after the baby was born, they sent me a picture of the baby and them together. Just because I followed up a couple times during the pregnancy, I said, "Please, I want to know, I want to meet this baby." La 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 la. So it didn't bring any business, but in terms of solidifying the relationship, taking it one step, uh, like leveling up on that and doubling down on the relationship, is good because I know that in the next few months that baby is going to bring in a lot of people. There'll be a meet and greet, and it gives me an opportunity to be able to get invited to those things and meet more of the people that are in their life. So sometimes these texts and these calls that are free do compound into meeting the brother or the sister or the mom or the friend who's also expecting. So um, you know the those gender reveals, pregnancy reveals, baby due dates. I have certainly doubled down on because it's a feel good moment.
That is amazing.
Love that.
Yeah. I mean, that
I got
is
a text yesterday from someone just saying, "Hey, can you take a picture of your business card and send it to me?" I was like, "Yes, please." I said, "Are you working for me?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm working for you and sending this over to someone." I said, "I love you."
Yeah.
So Mark, that's now an A, right? That's an A client.
Yeah.
Because if they're willing to give you a referral, I'm not. So some people ask me, so are they an A client if somebody actually buys and sells because of the referral? And I'm like, no, they're an A client if they suggest you to anyone, whether it works or it doesn't work. They were willing to actually spread the word and market for you. So that's an A client for sure. That's a great story, Miguel, and good on you for keeping in touch with them. I mean, you're family now, so if they don't use family, I mean, talk about repeat referral and family, they're family, right?
I know. They sent me a picture like, oh, this is your niece. I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm an uncle now. That's perfect.
So I don't usually see somebody who knock on one door. Did you either get turned off because they slammed the door in your face, or was it a door knock for the
Oh,
right?
okay, okay. This is another out there one. So I was coming off of a listing appointment in the neighborhood with clients that are putting their house back on the market again. And I stopped at a stop sign. In the corner of my eye, I caught this beautiful house. It was like just, I thought it was amazing. It had a beautiful, like, Indiana limestone archway. And I said, you know what? I'm going to pull up to the driveway, just knock on the door, and tell them how much I love their house and how, you know, uh, great of a job they've done designing it. And so, you know, I pulled into the driveway. I knocked on the door and I said, "Hey, my name's Miguel. I'm from Century 21. I was actually doing some work in the neighborhood, helping a client sell their place, and I couldn't help but notice like your beautiful house. And I just wanted to stop and let you know it looks amazing. Can you tell me who helped you design it? Yada yada yada." She says, "Why don't you come in?" She invited me in, and I had a chit chat with her. Found out that she's a retired bank manager at TD Bank, and her daughter is an interior designer. Works with a lot of builders, and oftentimes works with people who are getting their house ready for sale. And so she says, "You know what? I would give you a tour, but I've got my granddaughter's coming over." I said, "Honestly, no problem. I didn't actually expect to be invited in. I just wanted to stop by and compliment you on such a beautiful job you did in building this house." And she said, "Why don't you come back on Monday, which was last Monday, and I'll give you a full tour." I said, "Great. I'll bring my wife along as well and my little baby if that's okay." She says, "Yes." We went in there. I brought some pastries. She made a coffee. We were there for 2.5 hours. She gave me the tour. We got a bunch of contacts of builders and designers, and kind of 6 degrees of separation. We know people, and so now there's a follow up for maybe next month or whatever. So honestly, the one door knock was the house caught my eye. I see a lot of houses. Obviously, it was enough to be able to go there and just compliment them. Say, "Hey, this is a bit weird. I'm Miguel from Century 21. I just finished helping a client list their house. I'm doing some work in the neighborhood, and I was stopped at the stop sign here at the end of the corner. I couldn't drive away without telling you how much I love your house." And that led to me coming in, led to a follow up, led to coffee, led to pastries, led to connections, led to meeting her daughter, her builder husband, and the fact that she has a huge network of TD, being a TD bank manager. And it was just because I love the house. I knocked on the one door and kind of snowballed from there. But you have to have the guts. And I told our manager that you have to just not care about what's going to happen. What's the worst that would have happened to me? Get off my doorstep? Probably not. I'm there to compliment their house. I mean, I certainly didn't expect to get invited in, especially by a woman who was home by herself and a guy knocking on the door. But I was invited in. It led to a follow up. I brought my wife and kids to kind of soften it, around the edges on that, to make her feel more comfortable. And but it was just the one door knock, and it was just having the guts to go there and being like, either they're going to say no or they're going to say yes. In this case, they said yes, and it led to 2 or 3 follow-ups and also some connections, right? So don't be afraid of the turn down. It doesn't matter. If she had said no, life would have gone on. I would have continued on to my next appointment, and I would have forgotten about it. But a lot of good comes from taking that chance. You can't you can't pass it up. And it was really authentic. I actually love the house, right? And so it was easy to go there and genuinely tell them what I loved about it. So that's the one door knock.
We look at the door knock and I say, one, oh, like, way to go, Miguel. You got out there and knocked on one door. But how many people would have liked to had that experience opposed to 100 door knocks and nothing happened, right? So it doesn't
Miguel,
have to
how
be
did that
100.
conversation go with your wife? So,
Yeah.
we got to go to some lady's house on Monday.
Laura's been with me for 23 years. Nothing surprises her. She's like,
Yeah, I
okay,
believe
all
that
right.
now.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment in our house. So I said, listen, you're never going to believe this. I was doing a listing appointment. I love this house, and I went to the door. She's like, of course you did. Of course, like, why would you not just keep going on? Of course you did. I said, I knocked on the door. You wouldn't believe it. She invited me in, and I said, Laura, like the house on the outside is beautiful. Like on the inside is like amazing, and she wants to give me a tour. I'm like, I want to see it. I said, do you want to come with me? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna message her, let her know I'm there. I'm gonna get a coffee order. She's like, no, don't worry about the coffee. I've got coffee here, but I never come empty-handed, so I always bring a little food because guess what? That's also something that I'm known for. So I brought some fresh Portuguese pastries. I said, you know what? I know you didn't want coffee, but I brought you some goodies I hope you love. She loved it, and it was me, my wife, her, and little Jessie. 2.5 hours doing the tour, talking about this, talking about that, talking about where she's been, talking about where she's going, her husband, her daughter. So
That's amazing.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's yeah. We should just wrap up the whole real estate coaching in one conversation right there. If you guys keep doing that, you'll be successful. Right? Like that's awesome. Amazing. Anything else you want to like any? I mean, you obviously had a three sign listing. That's awesome. Assigned
Yeah.
buyers. We've got four
Yes.
actionable success stories there, and then you sold as well. So you're
Yeah.
ramping it up for the spring.
Yeah. This week we did a listing that went conditional, a buyer that went firm. And so when I come back, I'm still like, it's my favorite pastime. I call and text all day long when I'm on the beach or whatever here. And so we got a couple of things lined up. So probably 3 or 4 more listings next week when I get back. So
That's awesome. Really good.
You also
Keep up.
firmed up 263 Mary Miguel in
oh,
the
thank you.
past week.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was one that we lifted in the end of summer and fall, and it was a marathon, right? So I know it's very hard, and even for me as a seasoned realtor, it is hard, and sometimes we get discouraged when things don't sell right away. And I think a natural reaction is to um, not like to take that personally. At least I do, and not want to follow up because there's nothing to follow up on. And I'm going to say, it is a very important that they hear from you and they understand that you understand that things are not going as quickly, but that you are keeping an eye on the market. We've gotten into a habit of sending out every 10 days or 2 weeks, just if there's any showings, and if there isn't any showings, use the software. Here's how many times the listing was viewed. Here's how many times it was favorited. Here's how many times it was shared. We have in the Hamilton board something called reverse prospecting. I'm not that familiar with PropTX, but it talks about how many agents are
Okay,
signed up or how
thanks.
many times.
Yeah, I'll
Was
check
that?
right now. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, I think I just had somebody popping in with that. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, even if you feel like there isn't anything happening, to be able to say, hey, this is the story that we created. This is how many views. This if you boost that, especially in a slow time, throwing $5 or $10 behind it, just to be able to get some stats to share with your client, lets them know that okay, no news is not good news in real estate when you have a listing that is not moving. So my tip would be use the software. How many times it was viewed this week? How many times it was shared? How many times it was favorited? Do a boosted post for $5 or $10. Get those stats. Have a reason to call them and say, hey, no showings this week, but here's what we've done. And then after some time, gently introduced, hey, we have, in this case, we had suggested another listing price. They wanted to try something else. I'll give, I always try to guide them away from that. But at the end of the day, it's their house. They make the decision. We're there as a support system. But it is a good opportunity to revisit after a couple of weeks on the market to say, do you feel comfortable enough that you've tried your number? Are you, okay now to kind of go with the plan that I laid out for you 3, 4, 6 weeks ago, right? And they're more receptive to that. If you have kept up kept in contact with them every week or 10 days or 2 weeks to let them know how their listing is performing. Sometimes, and I know a lot of my colleagues, they don't they don't follow up or they don't call. They don't want to talk about the listing because there's nothing to talk about. But there are things to talk about, and take advantage to leverage those things and connect with your seller, because ghosting them is not great, right? So
Yep. Yep. And
anyway, 263 Mary happened after 4 months or 5 months of that. What seemed like no updates, but it was updates on how it was performing online, right? So
And there's two things I picked up from, a lot of things I picked up, but one of the things is Glynis popped in to let you know about that because she's working hard back home for you. So you're
yes,
leveraging the opportunities that
yes.
Glynis has been able to, help out with. And thank you, Glynis, for doing that. That's awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My right and left arm.
um, and that's important at where he is at, Miguel, is being able to, leverage and get help. One thing that I want to start talking to you about, Miguel, at maybe next week is start thinking about what you're doing to build that farm area. You've got some billboards and benches out there right now that are talking for you. How are you going to make sure that you close on some deals to make sure that it pays for itself and more? You're trying to get a 10 times return on that investment, right?
Yes. So yeah, we did the outdoor advertising. We have followed up with door hangers on that every 2 weeks, and then the next phase really is getting out and door knocking, and essentially putting a person a voice to those billboards and to those door hangers, and then just creating a bit of a neighborhood hub. So my idea is to start like there's a QR code on the back of those door hangers where they get to be signed up for um, real estate updates, but I also want to be able to add the door to talk to the people that I actually connect with personally, invite them to the Facebook group of that neighborhood, and essentially just let them know that it is going to be a little bit real estate, but it's really going to be about community events. So I want to throw at least 2 events this year specifically to that Geo Farm, which is free ice cream for the neighborhood. So I want to be able to get an ice cream truck at a spot and have them come out there totally free, no strings attached, and then a free pumpkin pickup. But the only way that they're going to know about it is if they follow get on the list or follow the Facebook group. So billboards, door hangers, door knocking, community events is what we're rolling out there for that neighborhood.
Good. So we'll follow up again and we'll see on that because I know a lot of people have questions about geographical farming and Miguel is doing it right. We've had this discussion and everything he just said is what's part of a whole business plan when it comes to farming and it does work. And we're talking the difference really. I mean, you see all the popular real estate agents across town that do it and they're usually the ones that are seven figures strong. So let's that's going to be a big one for you this year, Miguel. So can't wait.
How did you choose
Let's
the
hope.
area, Miguel? Is
I,
it your neighborhood or?
that's a big. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So the I farm the neighborhoods that I live in. So the one that I currently live in now, I was farming for a couple of years, and we've established a bit of a reputation there already in terms of being downtown. This next one, my wife and I are planning on moving this summer, and so last year I started to plant the seeds. Number one, we're going to be moving in there. My daughters go to school there. I'm on parent council there. It is within maybe 10 or 15 minutes of our office, which is a hub. So I picked that because I felt personally connected to that. I'm probably not doing it like the gurus say in terms of trying to like doing a turnover analysis. I really went to where can I make the most impact personally. So I know that there's turnover, but there's turnover to strangers, and then there is like how can you double down on relationships. And so if I'm already seeing the parents in the schoolyard, and if I'm already on parent council, and if my office is already there, and if I'm already talking to neighbors there, and I'm already walking the dog or whatever it is, and bumping to people in the neighborhood there, I feel like there's a greater opportunity for closing, not necessarily turnover. Turnover is one thing, but convert is another. And I just feel like there's a higher probability of conversion when you are immersed in the neighborhood. And so that's how I picked it.
We have a whole section on farming that we're going to be doing as we move forward too. So no worries. We'll go over some of those things. Okay. What I want to do at this point in time is go back over and talk about what I want really to focus on in terms of actionable items and working on one thing at a time. So go back into the slideshow. So this week, I do want to talk about the CRM because that's something that we're going to be using daily. The marketing and branding, social media, video, and I know we're at 11 o'clock. I actually strategically did the complete agent in sections for 15 minutes per person. That's an hour, and now we're at 11 o'clock. It's great. Now we can go over the last half hour is just kind of looking at ways that that you can implement certain things. And some people are going to be 9 out of 10 on their social media, so don't worry about it, right? Some people are 1 out of 10. They're like, yeah, I need to focus on it. So I'll just do a brief overview of some of these things. First of all, I wanted to talk about the pop by. It is something Miguel does. It's something that our top producers do. I got a video on the weekend. Anna sent me a video. She had the whole office just lined up with her pop buys that she was doing with her family in there. They're all putting them together this weekend. And she usually says she can contribute to about 4 deals per pop buy weekend every year because usually gets about 4 referrals from them. She'll probably do about 50 to 100. This is one that Miguel's done in the past. By the way, Miguel, I went on your social media. I went through every single post on your Facebook, which is not as good as your Instagram. Your Instagram's a much more, I would say, focused approach. And but I couldn't find the one that I've seen. I think you just sent me a picture then of your tomato,
Yeah.
relish, mustard, ketchup.
Yeah.
Anyway, so your Popeye, and you're going to do it again. You had mentioned. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm surprised I didn't see it on social. Anyway, hopefully this you take a picture and post it. So it says, yeah, his card says, I just want to catch up and let you know that I relish your referrals. My clients are always the best and always can cut the mustard. So that's sort of what the little pop by card says. I wanted to show it to you, everyone, because we do promote pop buys and they're really good. Pop buys, of course, are not really geographical farming. That wasn't the intent with a pop buy. Of course, it could be, but it's really about relationships and talking about past clients and friends and family, and just reminding them that you're creative and that you should think about you and you think of real estate. So what I did was I actually started up a Pinterest page for ourselves. I always use other people's Pinterest pages. You can always 300 pop by ideas and stuff like that. But what I did was I opened up our playbook. I think I have it open. Yeah, I opened up our playbook and says, I want to add a section for pop buys. So under sphere of influence, of course, I got to re-sign in. So under sphere, yes, that's me. There we go. We have the newsletter programs. I've put a couple of them in there, ours as well as Kit's. The Realtor for Life program, which is just a concept, and then pop buys are in here. So pop buys, this is what it is, right? And I put some pop buy ideas along with a link to our Pinterest site, and it's the C21 HD Popeye ideas. So all good ideas in here. I will continue to add. I don't know how Pinterest works. This is fairly new to me. I used it before, but if you can pin to this board, I think it's open for you guys. But anyway, but let's continue to build this board of pop by ideas. I always did the pumpkin pop by in the fall as an example. But there's a ton of them in there, so you can't run out of ideas. It's a matter of just going out and getting it done, right? One of the guys in the office did tapes a couple years back. So love every inch of your new home. That might be for a new home gift, but anyway, lots of ideas. Back over slideshow. so social media in general, right? So if you look at some of the, I'm just gonna go and look at some of your social medias. Miguel, you really focus on Instagram. I think Facebook picks up some stuff. Do you focus on Facebook as well, or am I off?
I'll tell you. I have somebody managing that. I sent her the contents and the direction, like vision. But she's the one who actually puts it together, just in terms of like leveraging my time. So I am a bit creative, and so I just don't have time to like execute. So I will tell her, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm picturing, this is what I want, this is the music, this is the clip or the meme, and I send it to her, and she creates a reel or stitches it all together. So that has happened maybe middle of last year. So those things are all about like my ideas and my direction, but I don't necessarily create them. I have somebody else do that.
Okay. And I mean, it looks nice. Your Instagram. You definitely have a theme for color and the way it looks with the different links that you have pinned to the top. One thing I know that you've done well is having pinned posts at the top about you, for example, or a video example of what you do is important. So it's the first thing people see. You don't just want them to see the latest post. You want to see the most important posts. And then I like this new one you did. It's a little video, the quaint home. So the reason why I'm not going to go through everything, actually, I want everyone here to follow List Lima and then check it out because it is good, right? And then we got actually all three of you have good social media presence. Yeah, Cassandra doesn't have quite as many followers at this point in time, so it's going to continue to build. She just got this page probably done. Cassandra, were you even caring about social media before you got into real estate?
Not really, no.
No. Well, I mean, one of the reasons why I'm on social is just for real estate. Like, I don't know how much I would still be on it because I care to see what other people that I used to know and stuff are doing, but I'm not that, person. But no, you've started off really good. And leveraging a little bit of what Century 21 does as well in terms of automated postings and postings of listings through Back at You Media. That's good. It gives you a good branding right away and shows you're a realtor and home tips and stuff like that. We've had interesting discussions about whether or not you should be back at you. Like Miguel isn't using back at you because he already has built out and paying for somebody else. I actually think that's strategically better. Using any automated posting systems aren't going to build your followers. They aren't. They're just a branding play. And in fact, it could hurt a little bit in the sense that you have too much automation and not enough real content. And then of course Instagram will know that. So at certain point in time, when you get enough content or can populate it, you may decide to disconnect. I always give good advice, not just the advice of what, of course we want you to do, which is, obviously putting Century 21 posts out there is good for both of us. But at the same time, if it's generic and somebody else also is posting it, it really doesn't provide
Yeah, it's not
additional.
authentic.
Well, I'll be honest, your sphere thinks you did this. Okay.
Hmm.
They didn't see all the other real estate posts. They didn't, I mean, at least we as realtors think they do, right? And always say, oh, I'm not going to post what everybody else posts because everybody's going to get it. No, your sphere only gets yours. Okay. Like really, the very few are friends with many of our realtors. So they think you're being authentic, right? However, because the algorithms know that it's a generic post, it's not going to promote them at all to people that you don't know or friends of friends. Like they see it as low quality content. So I know where you're going, like the non-authentic, and some of it is, but for the most part, it is actually quite good. So for that reason, I'm okay with it. But for algorithm wise, the best things you can post is stuff like Miguel's, video, for example, where he's talking because he'll get a lot more followers from that or likes on that because people don't care just to see a picture of a house or just
Right.
that sort of stuff. But it does look good. If somebody like the first thing that you want with social media is to be your new online business card. And this is an online business card and you pass. People will be like, okay, yeah, I would use her. So that's the most important. The second one is to stay in contact with your sphere. The third one is to try and get new and more business from people that don't know you or want to follow you. And that's the hardest part. Like you literally have to be walking down the street, trip, fall, and have it on video to get, but seriously, that's the stuff people want to see these days. They don't want to see you go, well, look at my new listing. They don't care. Nobody cares about that. Your sphere, oh, there's a new listing. That's great. But if you want to try and build followers that don't know you, you have to do something interesting, right? And I think the best way to do that is to do non-real estate related things, such as promoting a restaurant and then tagging the restaurant, and then they share it with people that don't know you, and then they follow like that sort of stuff is really good.
Okay.
Yeah, so just some food
Can
for
I
thought.
just add something there, Aaron?
Always.
Yeah, one of the things that I felt like I'm the same way. I don't want to do just listed, just sold, another generic uh video. So what I have found works for me. I love memes. I love a good meme, and I
Yeah.
love a lot of gifs. So one of the things that I have done with our social media person is try to wrap uh, popular ones like the friends bouncing up and down where they're all like super excited in front of our 263 Mary, or even like the Devil Wears Prada where Meryl Streep is like, she says something like, "Oh, don't kid yourselves, everybody wants this." Like very, very specific, like one-liners from movies or shows or clips, like the pivot clip. I try to be able to overlap those, either gifts or memes with an event like just listed or just sold or coming soon, because they connect to the show. It also helps me build the tribe of people who also like that, because if you're working with me, you're being inundated with a lot of these during our time together. So it's a easy way of still putting out a just list or just sold, but having a little bit of fun with it. If like that's what if you like those types of things. So I have found that really works for me, and I get a lot of DMs being like, "Oh my god, I love this post," or "I love your social media." Really, because I take things that I like and I overlap it on our listings.
Great. We have a question. Dev, just get it unmute. There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Yes.
Hey.
So, right now, because I'm new in the industry, right now, I don't have much more of clients or anything. So I was just focusing on my socials, and like you said, apart from back at you, what I'm trying to do right now is to post more and more of educational content, because what I believe was like I'm getting used to of it, and I'm getting more and more about the real estate. So I was like, if I am learning more, I should share more. Do you think that should work?
That's a great question. And I see a lot of realtors doing that. Do you want my um, non-political answer?
Honest
The
answer.
honest answer,
Yeah.
I think that's real estate 10 years ago. I think sorry, that's social media 10 years ago. I think a lot of
Mm.
social media 10 years ago were informational posts about the industry you're in. I think some people saw success because, that's what you do and that's what you want people to know you do. I just find nowadays people are bored of that. They don't want to hear about another way that there's mold in the attic or that there's basement wet or like all the things that I think were great posts 10 years ago, but now it's you got to get like Miguel creative. Like you got to have fun with it and almost draw the attention to something that they haven't seen before. Now, keep in mind when it comes to social media, most agents spend way too much time on it and actually think that it produces results. Like if Cassandra here has some automation, she's got some posts, that's probably 80% good enough for if she made 10 calls to her sphere, that's more important today than her, creating a GIF, right? That's more important. So please, whatever you do, be creative with the 5 to 10 minutes you spend on it, but that's all you should be spending on it consistently, right? Miguel, you had something to say to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say that um, I don't like social media, just because it didn't feel real to me or like authentic to me, and I've had a lot of fun with it by what's it called? just including things that happen in my day to day life. So last week I went to a father daughter ball, and so posting those things so that people get to know who you are as a person first.
Yeah.
I remember I don't know who said it, Aaron. You might help me. Um, like they don't care about how much you know until they care about how much you care, whatever it is. And I think like people don't really care about dealing with somebody who knows a ton about real estate if they cannot connect with them, if they don't feel like they know them. And I feel like a foundation of my social media is having them take a peek behind the curtain. Like, where do I eat? How do I take my coffee? Who are my kids? Show them a picture of my messy house. Like real life things. They want to know who you are before they'll even give you a chance to welcome you into their world and give you a peek behind their curtain. So you have to be able to essentially establish, I think, who you are first, authentically you. Like, I don't take several takes. We take one picture, we put it out, we do a video, we do a live, we do this, we do that, whatever it is. But if there's something that's happening in my world, you know, I somewhat strategically, but do let the public in so that they get to know who I am. And then once they feel like they know who you are and they can trust you and they put their guard down, then they will reach out and say, okay, listen, I kind of know who you are. I feel like you're not going to judge me. I feel like you understand who I am. I feel like we're one and the same. Why don't you come over for a home evaluation, or can we talk about buying or selling? But you need to give first, right? And so if you want them to be real with you, you also have to reciprocate and deliver that realness. And so just showing who you are day to day, your favorite restaurant, your coffee, where you like to walk, obviously I do put, you also could put some stuff in there like, oh, I'm at the office, and just a picture of like, hey, I'm at the office with Century 21 behind it is subliminally telling them you are a realtor. You don't have to tell them. You can tell them by just showing them subliminally in the back, like, working late again, maybe accepted offer. You don't have to tell them you did an offer. You could show them and let the picture tell the story.
So Miguel, I will say that you're bang on. That you do want it to be real life. That's the reason for social media. Is the reason why people will follow you. The one thing I will say to that, and make a big preface with Miguel. Miguel's the only person that I know that can go on in a listing presentation with a hoodie and flip flops and win it. Okay, so the fact is that his personality is unique. Do not necessarily take that as you can show up with a hoodie and flip flops. Okay, so I will say that it's a very unique way that Miguel does things, and his social media will be personalized to him. One morning I woke up and one on the social media was Miguel and his wife in bed. Okay. And she went over and said something to him, and he said something. I'm like, holy. Now, of course, I clicked on it and said, what are you posting, Miguel? But it worked because it was a meme, right? And Miguel, you can talk about it. I mean, sure, you got some likes and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff on that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so go ahead.
No, it was what's it called? We have a whole slew of kids, right? Okay, so it was a meme that actually it was Laura's idea, and she needed me to partner off when the doc kind of gives you the all clear to like do your thing. And so there was a meme that was going around about moms. It was a mommy. Moms were posting this all around social media about getting the green light again. And she's like, "Do you want to do this with me?" I'm like, "Sure." And so I'm like, "You know what? I'm gonna put this out there to my people because they know I've got a lot of kids, and they know that they follow our babies and all these things. So and I'm kind of lighthearted, and I really don't. I'm not. You can't embarrass me that easily." So I put that out there, and yeah, it really did take off. People were like, "Oh my God, you guys are crazy! You guys are nuts! You're fun!" But it just kind of gave a peek into who I am maybe as a husband, who we are as a couple. And because Laura has a big mom following, we kind of play off each other there. So it does help that Laura also has a pretty good following with like her mom groups. And so we bounce off each other on trending videos. So that was a trending one that we just kind of played along with.
Dev, we
Full
didn't even
play, sir.
Sorry, I'll give you a sec there, Mark. So yeah, for Dev's question, I hope that helps answer some of your questions, Dev. Let us know if there's any more there. Mark, you had something to add?
I just said bold play, sir.
Yeah, ball play.
Oh yeah.
Dev, how did you? So there is some actually going to Mark's. There's Mark's as well. What Mark does very well is connects with the community, right? As well, very personal, meaning he tells stories. He has a podcast that I mean, how's your podcast going? That's a really good content driver for
We
social.
haven't recorded in a few months now.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to Danny this morning. We'll get back at it. I'm less active on Instagram and more active on Facebook. I would like to have more of a following in Instagram, but I just have more people on Facebook. Unfortunately, fortunately, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. Keep it up. I will preface and just say, a good example is I went to the Buzz conference one year, and there was a guy up on stage, and he was wearing a leather jacket. He comes out in jeans, a leather jacket, and there's like, F this, and oh my God. Like, he was very personable, but he was swearing. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he was chewing gum. And I was like, really? This is the future of real estate agents? Come on. And he went through his social media. I'm like, oh, this guy's actually pretty funny, right? So it's great social media. I went home and everybody started talking about this guy and it's like, oh my God, we got to be more like him and we got to do stuff like him. So I checked his sales. He was doing okay. He sold 14 houses last year. I mean, nothing crazy. Did okay business, but they brought him up shows social media. What I'm saying is that you could be number one on social media and sell no houses because of it too, right? So I don't want you to feel like because you guys see it all the time, your algorithms, every real estate algorithm, agents, algorithms are geared towards real estate. So you see everyone's social. So you see all these people that are successful doing social media, including Miguel, right? So I'm thinking, Miguel must be doing something right on social media because he sells so many homes. He doesn't sell so many homes because he's on social media. I'm telling you right now, Miguel, you're not going to say that you sell those many homes because of social media. It's
No,
because of phone calls
I
made.
honestly do because it's a necessary evil. Can you hear me? Yeah, I do because
Yeah.
it's a necessary evil. Like it's there. There's a presence there, but no. If you were telling me how how many deals are generated from a direct like inquiry on social media, maybe one. Now, is it is it supportive content for the other stuff I do? Yes, but is it like primary? No. Like I don't get any business from my social media.
Yeah.
Um,
You had mentioned Miguel Gary Vanderchuk, Gary V, also known
yeah,
as. And
yeah.
I always like to promote his book because if you really do want to get into social media and want to know the science behind it and who has been successful with it, Gary V is the best. So you want to follow the best, just read his book. His first book was Crushing It. He was a son of a wine farmer, grape farmer, right, for wine business. And he built his family's business from a small little business into a multi-million billion dollar business with his social media. Okay, so he is the best at it, and he does. And one of the things that annoys me with him is he chews gum on almost every podcast or whatever he does. He's chewing gum. I'm just like, take the gum out of your mouth, man. Like it's so disrespectful. But anyway, doesn't mean he's not successful. So
Can
these,
I ask you a question, Aaron, just
yeah,
before you move on there? What percentage of agents would you say? So we market to people we know and people we don't know.
yep.
What percentage of agents use social media for people we don't know? I got
No,
to think that
everyone.
number is very small.
No, everyone thinks they do. The reality is
Yes.
they don't, right? So there's a
Right.
perception that they are, and a reality is that they're not, right? Algorithms do not share social media to people you don't know unless it's really like viral. Like if you've gone viral, it goes to those people. But what it is the new way of doing or touching out to your sphere of influence, right? So good point, Mark. And if you want a plan in order to promote yourself to those who don't know you, you're going to be paying, right? You're going to do a paid advertise boost campaign. So here's some strategies. Promote the town, not just the house. Be yourself, like Miguel said. Consistency, so always posting. Engage with past clients. So DMing, very similar to what Miguel also said. Instead of calling them, sometimes you DM and say, "Hey, congratulations on the baby," da 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 da, and you can start having conversation with them. I personally think a phone call is better, but measure your results so you can track your performance, especially if you're doing boost ads. But the reason why measure results is in here is because there's a local guy that spends a lot of money, time on his informational post, as Dev was asking. And he talks a lot about information about real estate. And I look at his engagement, and it's like 25, 30 people, and he spent over $1,000 a post. So that didn't make sense to me. If you're gonna do that, you got to make sure your results are there and track them because your time needs to be measured. Focus on value. Make sure you're delivering value. If people don't want to hear about your latest listing, don't focus on your latest listing. If the people want to hear about, something that just is happening in this weekend in town, then focus on that. Define your target audience. Know who you're talking to, right? Tailor that content to your target audience as well. So that's social. How do we just following at the end of all of our complete coaching, so we're at 11:30 mark, is just to remind you, get into your CRM today and make sure that you are organizing it by the most important thing first, which is your relationships. So the people you don't know should be categorized differently because they're right now, that's clouding the advocates, right? So if you have 4,000 people in your sphere of influence right now, and that advocate just gave you a referral, but you can't pull your referral base off and say, let's do something nice with them this week, or call them, or touch base, or have conversations, whatever you're going to do with your advocates. That's a mistake. So make sure that you're categorizing your don't knows. You calling them, of course, and say, hey, I don't know you and you're my phone. How do we meet? See if you can turn them into a contact of a person you do want to know and they want to know you. As soon as you have that contact, you're going to market to them, sometimes just by email or social media, and then you're hopefully going to get business off them through the good contact that you have with them. As soon as they're in the B category, they're good for 5 to 10 deals, right? One deal over 5 to 10 years. That's good for like 20,000 over 5 to 10 years. That's what they're worth, right? So now you start to apply math. So if you have 100 people in your B, you're good for 100 deals over the next 5 to 10 years. And if that's good enough for you, great. If not, which is most, you're going to want to turn them into advocates, which is good for 170,000 over 30 years, or 170,000. So you do have to divide that out. The reason why is because they're going to give you two, hopefully, if they're really good, 2 deals every year for 10 years. So that's good for 20 deals over a 10-year period. Much, much better. It's like the add-on sale in retail. That's the gold right there for profitability is your advocates. So next week I might touch on Remarketer because we didn't get a chance this week. We had a great conversations. I think it's one of our most value packed from the three of you. So thank you so much for that. And we'll get into just making sure you guys know how to do that. Of course, there are tons of videos on Remarketer, both on Excel, even YouTube. Remarketer does some great videos, so do we. And so if you need to know how to categorize and start creating your lists, we can help you with that. And then, of course, homework, what we're going to get everyone just to look at this week was what we talked about, right? Cassandra, I know Miguel's going to be doing his pop by, but Cassandra and Mark, if you don't have a pop by already scheduled for the next month, schedule one. You have to. This is a must do. It is the number one driving force in spring business is being able to go face to face and give a gift. So they give one back, which is a referral. Don't look for business today. Don't look for them to give you business of their business, right? You're not looking for them to sell their house. That's not what you're looking for. You're really just looking to build the relationship, but you should in the back of your mind be always thinking referrals, right? Who do they know that is buying and selling? So I would leave every conversation with, oh, if you ever know anybody who's looking to buy and sell, give me a call. Right, that's it. Make sure you're prospecting 70% of the time. Cassandra, we alluded to this when we talked about time. If you've got 20 hours, right, 70%, I would say 15 of that 20 hours should be those 5 hours selling a house, great, but the other 15 should be prospecting. And prospecting could be calling sphere of influence. So that's anything where you're putting yourself in front of anybody. So that's your homework there. What do you guys think? Get her done? We're good again next week?
I
Go ahead.
I'm gonna add. You mentioned "Crushing It" by Gary Vee. Another books that I read early on in my career that helped me, and I still kind of use the concepts today are "Raving Fans" and "Purple Cow" by Seth Godin. So if you guys are looking for reading material, Seth Godin is really good in terms of like building personal brand and building relationships and all those things. So if you've already read "Crush It," maybe check out Seth Godin's "Purple Cow," and I forget the guy who wrote "Raving Fans," but those are also two quick, easy reads that have helped me kind of establish who I want to be and how to carve out my value prop in real estate. So just while I remember it.
Yeah, and if you don't read, you can download those on Audible and listen,
Yeah, audio. Yeah,
which is
yeah.
great too.
When I say read, that's what I mean. Audio. I don't
Yeah,
read.
that's what Miguel means. And me, by the way. What was the one? Raving Fans. I thought I have that on there. Raving Fans. I just want to see if I downloaded that. No, I don't have that one. I'll have to look it up. Okay, thanks, Miguel and Cassandra. Thank you, Mark, wherever you are.
Ew.
Appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions in the meantime, give me a call. Anybody? Thank you so much.